So good morning guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. So if you're new here, my name's Gareth and this is Sarah to my right or to your left on the screen. So this morning we're up early and we're actually heading through to Edinburgh. So Alba Customs or Softail Motorcycles Indian dealership through there got in touch when I was away to say that their Indian chief dark horse demonstrator is actually just arrived, and they asked us if we were interested in taking it out for a test ride to do a vlog on it, do a little review, because Sarah, she did part one of the bike when it was through here with the actual Indian tour as it was going around the UK showing off the new bike to the UK customers. So we're going to go through this morning, take it out for a test ride, see what you think. We're going to compare it again. Sarah has a Softail Slim, so we're going to take it out for a little test ride, see what we think, and we'll feed it back to you and see where we go from there. So, as I say, well, see you on the road.
See you on the road.
Recording.
So hi everybody, it is Sarah here, and as you can see in front of me, this is not my Slim, which is here. I'm on the Chief today, and I am just in the car park of Softail Indian Motorcycles, Alba Customs. I think I just need a few minutes to get used to the bike before we hit on the open roads. We're going to hit on a bit busier roads. I just want to make sure that I'm comfortable on the bike before I do that. It's a little bit of a different positioning from my bike. As you can see, my bike, it's like the beach bars, so you're right here, whereas with this there's a bit of a kind of stance to it. The pegs are different. As you can see, I have Jack and Jill pegs that I've got really used to, which is funny because I was scared of them to begin with, but I soon got used to them, and now I'm a bit like, this is going to be strange, because as you can see, hopefully, that's not the case here. So I'm going to take this beautiful brand new 36 miles on the clock Indian Chief Dark Horse. It's not the bobber, as you'll have seen a few weeks ago, or maybe a few months ago now. It's not the bobber, which, to be honest, I'm thinking to myself, would be a better riding position for me. Oh, and that'll be neutral. It's a different riding position for me. I do feel a bit hunched up on this bike already, but I'm sure it'll be fine. It's definitely a lot lighter than my bike, so I'm liking that kind of aspect of it. The manoeuvrability of it, like this, is great. My feet are flat. It's so easy to manoeuvre. However, I'm just finding the positioning a bit strange compared to the Slim. And I really did think this would be the comparison from Indian of the Slim, but I'm not 100% sure now if it is, like how much it is like it or not. So yeah, I'm going to do this a couple of times. I'm not going to bore you with that aspect, but we'll show you the bike more when we hit the road.
So guys, you heard us this morning say that Sarah's we're taking out the Chief. So as you can now see on my left hand side, Sarah is on the Indian Chief Dark Horse, looking very dapper over there, you know. So I'm going to go up alongside her and give you a little view. So I am on board her Softail Slim Screaming Eagle 110S, and she is on the Thunderstroke 116 Chief there. So what do you think, Sarah?
I like it.
Yeah.
It is, and it is very nimble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
There. So that's her riding along there, enjoying the bike, and it's probably the best comparison that we have. So I'm going to let Sarah go ahead. I think we're on the right road, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you can see from the rear, it's got the side mount number plate, LED rear indicators, and it's got the bobber style half the actual fender, the bobbed rear fender, which is absolutely cool. And actually when you compare it to the Softail Slim, it is you know, in a very good comparison, apart from the fact the Softail suspension on this bike is different from the Dyna-esque suspension on the Chief there. So I'm going to have a test ride of it after Sarah has, and I'm going to give you my impression from going from this bike to that bike, and I'll probably go back to this bike again, so that I can definitely give you the good example of what the differences are, especially if we're thinking about changing from a Harley to maybe an Indian. Who knows? So let's enjoy the ride, and we'll see you at the beach.
Recording.
So as you can see, we have now left the dealer and we are out on the open road. First impressions so far, I really like it. It's taken a bit of getting used to, but I do think that I'm getting used to it quite quickly. And my first thoughts when I got on the bike and went my first couple of 100 yards was that it felt like I was really cramped because of the mid pegs that are on this bike, or kind of slightly forward mid pegs, I think. But now that I'm on it and I've been along, I've done a few miles on it now. Fair enough, it was on kind of motorway roads doing 65. I'm really liking it now. I'm still a little bit nervous when I'm coming to slowing down and like going round roundabouts and things, because the weight kind of distribution is different, I feel, on this bike compared to my Slim. But it's a good difference. It's actually really nice. I'm actually quite liking it. There's a few things I would change, but we'll see how I am after I've been on it for a bit longer and a bit more miles. So here we are, a little bit further along the road and a few more miles on the clock. And my impressions now are that I'm still really enjoying this bike. We've been on a few roads that I've never been down before too on this bike today, and they were country roads and it was great. It was absolutely fine, no issues whatsoever. I'm really enjoying its manoeuvrability. It's extremely easy, well balanced. For me, it's light compared to my Slim. I'm not 100% sure on the weight kind of stats. I'll check that and I'll pop that in here. I'm hoping to give you guys an all-round idea of what this bike is like in all different sorts of roads, from a female point of view. From a female point of view who rides a Softail Slim S at the moment, going from a heavier, what I feel is heavier bike, to this, and the different seating positions and things like that. So I hope you'll find this to be useful. Cut that out. So I hope you'll find this video useful if you are thinking about buying a bike or making a move from, for example, Indian to Harley Davidson or Harley Davidson to Indian. One thing I am noticing about this bike is the difference in the power delivery compared to my Softail Slim. And I'm sorry if it seems like I keep mentioning the Softail Slim, but that really is my bike of comparison for this. I've not ridden really another motorcycle in the last 4 or 5 years since buying my Softail Slim. Even though we have a Street Glide and a Night Rod Special at home, I don't really ride those bikes. I don't like the big high 8-hangers that much. Now, the bike that I initially looked at was the Indian Chief Dark Horse Bobber, which has the bars, and I wasn't too sure what it was going to be like to jump on this. When I first jumped on it, I felt very far, like crouched forward, very like a kind of clam shape, an open clam, and I did feel quite hunched up, quite, I don't know, like I was all squished in. But now that I've rode it a few more miles, I'm finding that my seating position is becoming more relaxed and I'm sitting up a little bit more. I don't feel as far forward. I know the bars, the style is different from my own bars, and I expected that, that's fine. but I'm definitely finding the seating position to be really comfortable. And because of the style of the seat in the tank, I do feel like still to a degree that I sit in the bike rather than being perched on top of it. I do find with the Slim that I am in the bike, very much in and part of it, which obviously helps with the weight distribution and stuff. And I was nervous when I first got on this that that wasn't going to be the case with this, that it was going to be very perched. I think it's just the style of the pegs and things on it made me think that way. But as I've rode it a bit more, I'm finding that I'm enjoying the seating position a lot better, which is good. Hopefully this video today will also show you what it's like to ride this bike around town, because we are going through some small towns here on the east coast of Scotland, and we are also doing some kind of motorway, like 60-70 roads, and some country roads too. So hopefully that'll give you guys an idea of what this bike is like and capable of. I'm currently sitting at 20 miles an hour. I'm in 4th gear. I could probably drop down a gear. The funny thing is Gareth is on my Slim and that's all I can hear behind me. which is quite funny. This bike is absolutely standard. There's not been anything done to it. So it's standard exhaust, standard everything. So it doesn't have the same kind of growl that my Softail Slim has now. But it certainly pulls away really quick. I'm getting used to the clutch. The clutch is not as heavy as my bike. My bike has a hydraulic clutch, so it is a bit heavier on the hand. So I am finding that I'm slightly babying the clutch a little bit on this bike because I don't want to let it out too quickly and it just pull away from me. I'm still in standard mode. I'm not sure if today I will take this bike into sports mode or not, because I'm a little bit nervous of it. But then again, I was a bit nervous to get on this bike in the first place today, so maybe I should just give it a try. We'll soon find out. Obviously, it being a new bike, the neutral and stuff is still really easy to get into. Pulling away is easy. Slow manoeuvring seems to be easy so far. It's balanced enough that it allows for you to kind of crawl along. I mean, look at that, that's like 6. I've still not got my feet down until now. But yeah, so far so good. So hi, as you can see, we've stopped off the bike. It is a beautiful sunny day. Perfect day to take out this little bad boy out on the road. Look at that, how nice is that bike? So this is the Indian Chief Dark Horse. It is not the bobber. Alba Customs did not get a bobber demo in yet, but we do have this to enjoy. So big shout out to the guys Callum and Levi over at Alba Customs, Softail Motorcycles in Edinburgh, for loaning us this bike for today. It has been great so far. We've been down so many different roads on it already, just to give it a try on different types of roads basically. Pretty self-explanatory. So I'm going to give you guys a little tour around it. If you have not seen the video that I did on the Indian Chief Dark Horse bobber, I will link it in here for you guys to go and have a look. It was just a first look video, it wasn't a ride video. As soon as they do get one out for us to test ride, however, we will go and give that a bash, see what it's like. Sorry for the shadows and stuff, but I mean, this is what we're dealing with today. Like, this is the sunshine, hardly a cloud in the sky, so yeah. So that's what we're dealing with. So sorry about the shadows, but you know. So love the headlight. You've got your LED headlight on this bike, which is fab. just the standard kind of bars on it. It's not got the little mini apes like the bobber has. Got the 1.6 litre stroke engine. The suspension, which I'm finding this suspension really comfortable on this bike. I've hit a few little minor kind of bumps that I would have felt on my Slim, but not felt so much on this. LED lights to the rear, and this is just, as I say, this is just standard out the shop. So yeah, that's your little walk around, guys. So for those who have maybe stumbled on our page because of the Indian, this is the bike I keep referring to on my video. I'm sorry for that, but it really is my only comparison, and maybe it's not a good thing to be having something to compare against. Maybe I should just take it for what it is, but in this video I'm comparing. So this is what we're comparing against: a 2017 Softail Slim S, 110 Screaming Eagle engine. I'll say that a bit slower. The only thing that has been done is the Reinhardt racing exhaust on it. So right away I feel, looking at the two bikes, that they are very similar. So obvious things that between this bike and the Chief, with this being a Softail model, there's no visible suspension. It's the forward facing controls. We don't have a LED headlight on this bike, and the bar reach is more towards you. So I feel, when I first jumped on the Indian Chief, I felt that I wasn't as comfortable, but after maybe 20 or 30 miles or so, it's definitely, I've warmed to it, and I'm certainly feeling more relaxed and sitting a bit more back. I don't feel like I'm leaning as heavy forward as I was. There's obviously no digital display, it's just the standard display on this bike. So no sat nav or anything like that. And the main thing I've noticed is I have the Jack and Jill controls on this bike, whereas, as I showed on the Chief, it is just the standard. Well, you're probably thinking to yourself, what do you think of that bike? Would I buy it? Overall, I really like this bike. I've grown to really like it, and soon I'm going to be letting Gareth have a ride of this bike to go back to the dealer. So I'll soon find out what it's like completely direct, going from this bike to my bike in the space of minutes. So it'll give me a good comparison that way. I really like it. The suspension's really good. I know I can adjust the suspension on my bike, and I think I might after riding this. This bike is really comfortable. For me, being 5'7", I've read that some of the aches and pains that I get in my lower back when riding my bike is because of the front pegs pushing me back into the seat, and that can cause pressure on that part of your back, and that's why I feel the pain that I feel. This has been really comfortable. I really do notice a difference. I feel a lot more relaxed on this bike the more I've ridden it. It's definitely a bike that you could take out and just jump on and ride. So I really like it for that. It's really easy to manoeuvre about, out of spaces, stuff like that. So I'm going to just wait on Gareth here. So yeah, I mean, generally, overall, I do really like this bike. It's been a real pleasure to ride. I was really nervous jumping from my bike to this bike because I do not really ride any other bikes. And even when I did go to get my own bike, I did tend to put it off. I went from a 48 Sportster to a Softail Slim S. Different like controls and stuff like that to a degree. And I was nervous to do it. But I definitely think that my confidence has improved so much over the last while that I could easily ride another bike, and this bike in particular has caught my eye. We were initially looking at the bobber style, as I've already mentioned, and I do think I would like a shot of that to see what the different what it feels like compared to this in terms of riding position with the bars. So that's definitely something I would like to consider for when they do get a demonstrator, if they do get a demonstrator in. So stay tuned for that. We might get a chance to do that, I'm not too sure. There is only one dealership. In Scotland for Indian. We've been on country, we've been on little tight towns, we've been on motorway kind of highways, we've been on country roads, and I definitely am giving it a huge thumbs up. And I'm excited to see what Gareth thinks of it too, because it'll be interesting to see his perspective coming from someone who is very used to big high bars to this, to see what he thinks. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend you give it a try. If you are in Scotland, Alba Customs is where you want to go to give it a try. We'll pop some details either here on the screen or in the description down below. Hope you'll go and give it a try and love it just as much as we do. Get out and enjoy some of the roads like this. Okay, so as you can see, I am back on my bike and we have dropped off the Chief. So that is us done for the day on riding the Chief. Gareth's in my car and we are going to head for a Starbucks and head home. But that was fun. I really enjoyed it. I definitely think the bobber version of that bike is going to be more comfortable for both of us. I did warm up to the Chief. I did get there eventually with it. It did take a while, but we got there in the end, and I could easily jump on that at night. Gareth, however, did feel a bit more restricted and felt the bobber style would be more suited to his style of riding and comfort levels and stuff like that. So that's where we're at with it. We've just left Indian, but you know, you never know what's on the cards, you never know what's ahead. We'll see how things go. We don't know if we're going to buy one or not. People are going to ask that, so answering that question for you guys right now, we're not 100% sure. We're not going to commit to anything right away. It's also quite hard right now because of the situation with new vehicles of any kind. It's really hard to get at the minute because of parts and things. They're really hard to come by, so a lot of new things aren't being made, or they're taking a bit longer to be made. So that's where we are at. So I'm going to sign off from now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this little follow on from my first look at the Chief Dark Horse bobber from a few months ago. It has taken a few months to get here, so I'm sorry guys for those of you who were asking when are we going to get to see part 2. Unfortunately, it is just going to be the Chief that we're getting to show you as part 2 right now. Obviously we'll do a part 3 if we do manage to get a bobber version. We'll obviously show you guys that too as soon as we can get hold of one. But when they're so hard to get out to customers at the minute, the Alba Customs Indian dealer here in Edinburgh, they would rather get people their bikes rather than get a bike in for a demo. which is fair enough. It's good of them to be like that. So take care, ride safe if you're doing so, and as always, as Gareth would say, keep hauling ass. Bye guys.